Happy Valentine's Day. Guess who's here with you? Welcome, welcome, welcome to Wednesday Wellness Wednesday. I'm going to give about 3 minutes for everybody to log in, jump on in. Hope you're having a day full of love. Minimally, we need to be loving ourselves, right? That is what this is about, is self-love. So I hope you had a great Valentine's Day and a great day in general, and that you got your workouts in. And if you haven't, it's not too late, because I know I'm certainly one of those people who pulls up at the end of the day sometimes, many times, in fact. I can't see the comments, so I can't say hey and shout anybody out, but I certainly am glad that you're here, and we're planning on having a good conversation this evening, a good 15-minute conversation on reflection today. So hang tight. And hey, you know what you could do, even though I'm not able to see it? Why don't you drop a little heart? Why don't you drop a little heart since it's Valentine's Day and show each other some E2M love? Shout out some of your APs, shout out some of your people, and let them know that you are hoping that they had a wonderful day today. A wonderful Valentine's Day, because Valentine's Day for some people is actually kind of painful. And then for other people, it's one of their favorite days of the year. So we want everyone to know that you are loved and that you are included and that we are one family, and that, yeah, we're hanging today. We're hanging out together tonight on Wellness Wednesday. That's what we're doing. So we got about 1 more minute and we will get started, just kind of letting some people pop in. I'm sure some people are out doing their celebration meal. Today might have been celebration time for quite a few people with the little extra things that they ate. Okay. So some people may be out celebrating, but we are glad that we are all here together. And whoever is here, thank you for showing up. So let's see. Got a question for you. How's it been going so far this round? This is week 7. This is week 7, and we're going to be talking about reflecting. How has your last 7 weeks been? Put that in the chat while we wait for more people. All right, so we're going to get started. Again, happy Valentine's Day to everyone. I'm Dr. Carolyn Clancy Miller, and everyone here calls me Dr. C, for those of you that I have not been acquainted with. I am one of your mental fitness coaches, and I'm here this evening to do the Wellness Wednesday. So every Wednesday, we focus on some aspect of wellness, whether it's physical fitness or physical wellness. Last week, I believe we were talking a lot about body work and things like that. And sometimes we have some docs in that just talk about hormones and all of that. And tonight, we're going to focus on mental fitness and mental wellness. And we're really actually going to focus specifically on our theme, the theme of reflection. So I want to try to get started and just lay just a little bit of the groundwork. But if you know me, I like to get us going and actually reflect tonight. And you can drop things in the chat as a way to reflect. So but before we get started with that, I just want you to be aware of what reflection really is. It is thoughtfully considering our experiences and our actions. And the purpose of reflecting is to really get a better understanding of ourselves. One of the things that I have found with respect to E2M is that sometimes as we get into the program, the process itself begins to expose parts of ourselves that we're not even really aware of. We may have had some food cravings that we weren't aware of, or some resistances we really weren't aware of. The process itself causes us to interface with parts of ourselves that maybe have been dormant. Not only has it been something that might have seemed to be like a negative, like, I didn't know I had a food craving or I was addicted to sugar, but we're also not aware of our strengths. Sometimes we didn't know that we were as strong as we are physically or even emotionally, that we could get through life circumstances like Karen McMurray was talking about last night when she did her testimony, which was phenomenal. And she was talking about her own life experiences and life interruptions. And through the E2M process, she found a strength in herself to be able to get through it. So that's also part of self-awareness, that we learn these things through E2M. And the process of reflection helps us to discover more parts of ourselves and to understand ourselves. And I find that to be extraordinarily important. Research shows there's so much research that supports reflection and with respect to weight loss and hitting our fitness and wellness journey. But I think more importantly, I think we need to know that the research shows that it is the difference between people who perform at high levels. So the high performers, what Uncle Brad likes to call the 1%ers, and the mediocre. The high performers reflect. They take time to reevaluate what they're doing, and they do that consistently. They take the time to look at their strengths and their weaknesses so that they can improve and get better. So people who are high performers take time to evaluate and look at themselves. So I want us to evaluate and look at ourselves in one area in particular, and that is in the area of our alignment with ourselves and our alignment with E2M. And so what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that there's there is a topic in psychology, or a kind of a concept called cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance, in a nutshell, is when we are misaligned, when our values, our thoughts, our feelings about a thing, our beliefs about a thing are not in alignment with our actions and with our behavior. That's the focus that I want. It's how aligned are you with your behavior and your beliefs, or your behavior and your values? How aligned are you? So, and what I mean by that is, like, when you think about what you want out of E2M and what you want for your fitness and wellness journey, are you doing the things that you say are important to you? Are you doing what you say? Are you consistent with your values? If you say that fitness and wellness is a value to you, that you want to be healthier, that you want to lose weight, if that's what you want to do, or you want to get stronger physically, you want to change your numbers in terms of the of what your blood work looks like and things like that. Are your behaviors consistent with what you say you want to do? That's the reflection I want us to look at this evening. Are your behaviors consistent with who you say you are? If you say, I'm a person who values good nutrition, then how well are you really eating? If you say, I want to reach my goal, then what are you really doing to reach it? What I have found is that there is often a misalignment. There is cognitive dissonance. A lot of times we are not being consistent with what we say we really want, and we wonder why we don't have any peace. We don't have any, where we might be anxious, or we might even be depressed, or we might have all kinds of disturbing emotions, because a lot of times we're misaligned. We're misaligned with ourselves. And there's some statements that talk about how a house divided can't stand, and we can tear down our own house with our own hands. We tear down our own values. We tear down our own goals by not doing them, by not doing the things that we need to do to be consistent with the program. And sometimes, I was listening to what Karen said last night in her Tuesday talk, when she talked about how she does not question and did not question the coaching and all the things that they told her to do in the E2M program. Well, a good number of us have questioned. A good number of us have resisted. A good number of us have decided what we want to do and what we don't want to do. And then we struggle with what the results are. So, the reflection that I want you to ask yourselves tonight is, how aligned are you with the E2M program? Are you saying, you know what? I am really good at exercising. So I'm aligned with exercising, but I just don't like to eat what's on the meal plan. So I'm not, especially this weekend, next week. I mean, I don't want to do it. So you're really misaligned. And when you're not aligned with the program, then you're not going to get the same results. You can't sow a certain type of seed and expect it to produce a certain type of fruit. If you don't sow the seeds of consistency, then you're not going to get the results that you want. If you don't sow seeds of discipline end up helping people get to their goals. You achieve things when you sow seeds of discipline. But if you're sowing seeds of inconsistency, expect to get the results of an inconsistent seed. I remember going to a nursery and getting a miniature citrus plant. And I thought it was a lemon tree. I really did. They told me it was. So I just sat around I sat around and waited for this little miniature lemon tree to turn, because it had some fruit on it. I sat around and waited for the fruit to turn yellow. It never did. I just waited and waited and waited beyond the time they said it was supposed to. And then I finally figured out it's a lime tree. It's not a lemon tree. It's never going to be yellow because it is not a lemon tree. If you sow the fruit of inconsistency and are expecting the results of what a consistent life looks like, which is to achieve your fitness results, guess what? You'll be waiting around like I did for a long time. And you're never going to see it turn that color because it's not the seed that was sown. The plant is not a plant of consistency. So I want you to evaluate what you're sowing. What are you doing on a daily basis? What are you really eating? What are you doing with respect to the lives, listening to the lives, the mental fitness lives or the nightly lives? And what is your learning looking like? Those kind of things. When you begin to do a lot of reading, if you're doing a lot of learning, if you are applying what you learn and you're doing the work, all of that is going to lead you down a path of achievement of your results. Dwayne did an amazing talk on YouTube the other day called 8 Reasons That You're Not Getting Your Results. If you haven't heard it, you should listen to it. I listened to it and I need to listen to it again. And I'm certainly not going to spoil the talk because I want you to go listen to it. But he does talk about things like consistency and intensity and nutrition. It's excellent. And he talks about the reason why you're not getting results is basically you're not sowing these kinds of seeds. And there are 8 types of seeds you need to sow to get these results. And if you're doing like 3 of them and not 8 of them, then you're not going to get the kind of results that you really want. So reflection, going back to that, reflection is looking at what kind of seeds am I really sowing? What kind of behavior am I really engaged in? Is this behavior that I'm engaged in aligned with the program that I'm in? Is it aligned with who I say I am? Is it aligned with what I say I want? Is it aligned with what I say that is important to me? And if there's a misalignment, guess what? All you have to do is course correct. If you can just make a 2-degree change, you don't have to make major changes. You can just make small changes. You can course correct. There's some data out there about how airline pilots can just make 1 degree or 2-degree changes, and it can change the trajectory of their destination. They can change the whole course just with 1 or 2 degrees. So I want you to take some 1 or 2 degree changes and begin to align yourself so that you're one with yourself and 1 with the program, so you can get the results that you want. Some ways that you can do this, of course, with respect to reflection. Of course, you could use journaling and assessments like the life wheel, or look at your goals. And as we go into week 8 and see if you've achieved those goals or if you're checking some boxes. And if you are, that's awesome. That's also a part of our reflection, is to be able to celebrate the good stuff that you've achieved. But you can also use some of the questions that I've already posted, which are some reflection questions that will help you to look at how you've done this round. And it has a lot of them with that will ask you questions about the things that you learned and what you did to overcome, or what kinds of new foods did you try, and things like that. So there's a series of reflection questions that are posted, and you can also find them in Guide 31, which is a mental fitness guide. All right, well, we're at the end. I can't keep you long because I know you want to be with your lovebirds. But one of the things I want to tell you is, before we get off real quick, is that when you reflect with honesty, but don't reflect with judgment. You can reflect with love. All right? Have a good night, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day to you again. Take care.